competing in the challenge.
It's my story on TV.
Teams were judged on their unique designs, how much energy their turbines produced, as well as how knowledgeable they were on wind energy. Judge Landon Williams says the event helps break away from today's cookie-cutter turbines and could open new doors for wind technology in the future.
It's kind of neat to see the kids and new ideas, new innovations, I guess, possibly.
Some of the first people getting ready for Emergency Preparedness Week are those we rely on in critical situations, our first responders. As Taylor Oseen discovered at a mock disaster of a plane crash near Colehurst, crews are going more high-tech and getting more in-depth.
This bird's-eye view of the wreckage from a simulation plane crash is just one of this mock disaster's training exercises. The overhead recording from an aerial drone monitors the situation. It captures the scene in the debris-scattered field and the response from forensics, fire, police, and military crews.
We have to, find out like the initial number of patients and fuel spills, fires, any hazards, that kind of thing.
This is all part of a training scenario to better prepare our emergency crews for when the unthinkable happens.
Good afternoon. Some West Lethbridge residents are still pretty shaken up after gunshots rang through their quiet neighborhood last night. The shooter targeted cars and a home in an area many residents say they thought was safe. Taylor Oseen has the story.
It's a shock to think this happens here. You know what I mean?
Dave DePalma says he was scared when he realized the loud bangs outside his house weren't firecrackers like he suspected. He says he heard the noises and looked out his front window to see what was going on, only to find out that the man across the street was shooting at his neighbor's door. DePalma was one of the many residents in the area to call 911, and he says he still can't believe what happened.
I'm just glad everybody's okay, and I hope this is not a recurrence thing, so... this city is a pretty good city to live in, and especially in this neighborhood too, so it's kind of a shock to hear or see something like that.
Police say the man was walking in this neighborhood, carrying a baseball bat and high-powered rifle. He fired shots at multiple cars and this house on Mount Rundle Way. There were people inside, but fortunately, no one was injured.
What I can assure the community is that at this time there is no evidence to suggest any ongoing threat to the community or that particular neighborhood.
A 24-year-old man is in custody, facing multiple charges, a relief to many residents in the area.
I think this is just one of those 1 in a million incidents that happen from time to time, and I'm not worried about it happening again.
Taylor Oseen, CTV News, Lethbridge. Just over 1 year after the passing of his daughter Madison, Steve Herlihy and his family still receive overwhelming support from the Ronald McDonald House and their staff. Madison was diagnosed with a rare type of cancer at just 4 years old and battled it for nearly 7 years. Herlihy says that without all the support from the house, his family would have been lost.
After Maddie passed away, it was obviously the toughest time in their lives, but the relationship with Ronald McDonald House and the people at Ronald McDonald House, that goes on. We'll never forget what they did for us. We don't know where we would have been without them.
Every year, McDonald's restaurants raise millions of dollars in support of Ronald McDonald House charities across Canada. Staff from the house say that it's donations like the ones from McHappy Day that make all the difference.
The people that support McDonald's, that support, and the families that support the house helps us to provide a place for sick kids and their families. We can't thank people enough for coming out and supporting McHappy Day.
On McHappy Day, $1 from every Big Mac, Happy Meal, and McCafe beverage goes towards supporting the Ronald McDonald House charities and local charities like Lethbridge's Family Centre. Curtis Keller still finds a way to laugh and smile. The 5-year-old has been waiting 3 years for a heart transplant. He has a congenital heart defect and suffered end-stage heart failure for over a year. Curtis's complicated situation as a heart transplant patient also includes a very rare blood type, rejection to many medications, and a weak immune system. Curtis's grandfather, Rick Elliman, says the journey to a new heart has been a struggle.
Basically, his heart function was just down to the point where
everything else was starting to fail. His liver was starting to swell really bad. He was starting to get fluid on his lungs, and so it was time. They determined that there was no choice. They had to do something.
The Keller family has spent the last few months away from their home in Calgary. Elliman says it's been financially tough for the family as they've had to juggle constant travel, time off work, and medical expenses.
They're hoping he's going to get out soon, and a lot of the stuff isn't covered. Like he has to have a bandage change every other day once he's out. That's $45 per change, and that's not covered.
Employees at Bridge City Chrysler have taken it upon themselves to help the Keller family through this difficult time. Kaylee Roth says it's been hard to get donations, but they're still trying to support the family any way they can.
We've known about his grandson since day one, and he's a fantastic little kid that needed some help.
Elliman says Curtis's health is on the rise since getting the new hardware, but eventually he will need a real heart. He says Curtis's battle with his heart will never end, and any help they can get will go a long way.
It'd be wonderful, because it's gonna be a lifetime thing, right? Because he'll never be 100% normal.
Taylor Oseen, CTV News, Lethbridge.
A southern Alberta camp for youth at risk is on the verge of closing its doors. Taylor Oseen is in Carmagay and explains how last June's floods are part of the reason. Taylor?
Yes, Jackie. Camp Carmagay's actually been open for about 12 years, and they offer a cost-free facility to youth at risk for criminal activity and disadvantaged youth. But since last June's floods, the camp may be forced to close their doors because they just can't receive the funding that they need to keep the place up and running. So now administrators are asking the community for help.
That if it's good enough for mom not to wear a helmet, why am I? But if mom's wearing a helmet or dad, it's good enough for me too.
If you're unsure about any of the rules you need to follow as a cyclist or as a motorist around cyclists, you can go to Safety City, Lethbridge Police, or City Hall.
All right, thanks, Taylor, and that helmet looks adorable, by the way.
But before Mearns does that, she may have to fight Councillor Rob Miyashiro for her old office back.
I have offered to arm wrestle him, and I'm pretty sure I could beat him, but I'm guessing he won't take me up on it.
Over the next week, Mearns will just be transitioning back into office and getting up to speed on all the changes council has made. She'll be sworn in at the next council meeting on May 26th.
Okay, thank you, Taylor.
Another thing I learned at my practicum, Terry Vogt can get his office clean. Look at it. It's a whole new world. You can see the floor. So I guess can you tell me what you think that I did well in my practicum and areas that I could have improved?
Well, you did nothing well, so you could probably improve on everything.
You're funny.
I am. Where did you do well? I think you did really well. Your stories were great. You developed your stories. You came in with story ideas for the most part. Your interview skills are excellent. Camera work is probably what you need work on, but that will come in time.
I think things that you did well were just bringing in a really positive energy to the environment. Sometimes what we do for a living isn't always very happy or positive, and you can kind of get brought down a little if you're too sucked into the stories that you're covering. But when you get this new breath of fresh air and a new person who's really eager and brings that positive attitude in, it kind of lifts everyone else's spirits. So I think you're really good at that. As far as a professional point of view, you always had story ideas, you're willing to do anything, you're a very quick learner, which was great. Great writer. I would say maybe just as far as writing goes, maybe a little bit more conversational, and I know we've talked about passive, active.
Yeah.
But no, I think you are a really great fit for the team. If it was up to me and we had money, I know we would hire you tomorrow. So
Aw, thanks.
We're definitely going to miss you around here for sure.
Well, the list is huge for the stuff that you did right. Your line of questioning was awesome. Your editing skills are amazing. You can jump onto a camera and do any kind of shooting that you need to do, and you have a really nice thought of how to put your stories together even before you've gone out. You read the press releases and you automatically know, yeah, I'm going to make it work this way. The things I would probably work on are just maybe being more direct in your questioning. sort of things like, you know, saying, how does that make you feel? Feeling questions are really good to ask, because anytime we can get information from press releases, what you really want to do is ask them how they feel about the particular event or whatever you're covering. Because you can't get that from a press release. You can get dates, times, all that other stuff from press releases, but feeling questions are what we're really going after. So that's probably the one thing I'd work on.
Okay.
One of your strong points is reporting. I think that you get along with people really well. You can, I think that the mark of a good reporter is somebody who can get people to tell their stories. And I think you have the ability to do that, to go out and meet people, and they don't, I think they open up to you. And that's, I think, the biggest part of being a reporter. There's a whole bunch of strong things, but I think, I just think you make a good reporter.
Thanks. Where should I improve?
I would say that, like most people who are starting out in the business, I think the biggest challenge is sort of finding your own style, but also maybe finding a style that's really conversational and that tells a story in an exciting or interesting way. So I think just working on your writing, the way you put a story together, that sort of thing. The police were trying to clean all the potatoes off the highway so traffic could keep going. And they brought a big bag of potatoes over, and they said, take these potatoes back to the station and give them to everybody, because we've got to clean up this mess. And so every vehicle that drove by, the police would hand a big sack of potatoes to.